Hey. We're going to talk about, I don't know, maybe we'll talk about immunizations today. Maybe we'll talk about Bill Gates. I don't know. We'll see. We'll wait for people to get in here. Hey, Joseph. What'd you say, babe?
Ask people on Instagram about if they have any Dungeon Dragon goods they want to sell.
Hey, Deborah. Medic. How are you doing, man? I haven't seen you in a while. It's cold out here. Wait for people to get in. Happy Mother's Day. Merle Haggard says there's two kinds of mothers. And if that doesn't cover all of you, I don't know what would. What is happening among all you people? We had some friends from Illinois here last week, and Illinois said they're going to be under lockdown until they got to stage 5, which would, for them, the level 5 in this coronavirus thing would be when we get either a cure or a vaccine, and there ain't never going to be either for this, I'm afraid. Deborah says, what's the temp? It's like 59 degrees in Tulsa.
It's 63.
There ain't no way. It's not 63. I'm looking right at the thermometer, Charity. It's cold, or it's cool, and it's pretty breezy. Pretty breezy. Hello, Miss Buchanan. Coronavirus is making life hard in EMS. Is it really? Tell me more about that. I want to hear about this. I'm interested in hearing how it's making life hard. I want to know what everybody's plans are for when all this lockdown stuff is over, what consumer confidence is like, what people's plans are as far as business and jobs. Hey, Joachim, something. Wearing full gear is exhausting, yeah. I bet that's right. Ms. Buchanan says, Happy Mother's Day to Charity.
Thank you.
Charity says, thank you. Some of your crews are flying 3 to 4 trips a day. Is that an elevated number of flights, I guess? And these are all people that supposedly have corona, but they have like terrible comorbidity, I'm sure. Right? They're all like huge and diabetic, would be my guess. Hello, Mr. Pinto. Interesting. Normally 5 flights a day, up to 20 now. Interesting. The family make you breakfast in bed. Our youngest one Evan made breakfast for everybody. Yeah, Helomedic says the comorbidity is a huge factor. Of course it is. This doesn't kill healthy people. No, Brandon Dudley. Yeah, this doesn't kill healthy people at all. No, Nick. Ronnie, hello. Yeah. Oh, so anyway, this friend is in Illinois, and Illinois has said they're going to be under lockdown until there's either a cure or a vaccine, and I don't think there's going to be either. And I'm just wondering what the end game is here. I don't understand what the heck is happening. I don't understand what people are trying to do. Joseph says, we're still surviving in the oil field. This is the 3rd bus so far. I'm seriously considering a career change. Tired of living in a remote area. Remote areas are good. Oil business, not so good. Helomedic says, the doctors and nurses and medics that are working so much get a hugely depressed immune system. That's a big problem. Sure, I can see that. I can see that.
Somebody's barbecuing.
But yeah, I can see that. But I don't know what to do about it. Healthcare is a weird thing. we was talking to a friend earlier this morning, trying to figure out. He's in England. We were trying to figure out what he should do and how he can prepare for when England comes out of the lockdown. England's going to be locked down for a long time, I think. Their public health officials are acting like they're scared of this. I don't know if they really are, but he's a young person, and trying to find employment was hard there anyway, because they've imported so many people from the Middle East and from Poland and so on, that young people can't hardly even get a job because they're competing with adults who will work for next to nothing. They'll frankly work for just the privilege of living in England as opposed to whatever shithole they're from. So he has a hard time finding good employment, and that's the case here too. Then I've got a 15-year-old and a 17-year-old, and there are going to be 30 million adults that were working out of work here soon. I don't know how my kids are going to get any sort of jobs. We're going to have to create jobs. How's business in Tulsa? I have no idea.
Only been open for 3 days.
I'm not linked to the Tulsa business community in any way at this point. Are we seeing any layoffs? I'm sure. I have a friend who has a couple of steakhouses that he's had in this town for 50 years, and he closed one of those down. I'm sure there are layoffs. So, Mr. Wilson, I don't have data storage anymore, but I would imagine that we would have had to have had layoffs as well. And we were pretty recession-proof, but almost certainly would have had to have laid off at least some people. And, in 2008, 2009, we had 3, 4, 5% of our clients file bankruptcy and disappear. I mean, Chapter 7 bankruptcy, like, call the auctioneer, it's over. And this is going to be worse. It's just going to take a while for that to shake out. And, I don't know what's going to happen. Hello, Kirk Seizing. Yeah, dumb stock market's still way up. I don't understand. Don't understand. How's everybody's training? Not a very lively group here on this Mother's Day. Hello, Worsham. Let's see if anybody has any questions or wants to give us a training report. No? I may duck off if it's a slow day like that. Finally got a barbell. That's good. I'm better. I'm over here trying to drink my water right now. Get all hydrated again. So I'm doing LP. I've been constantly doing LP all year. Constantly. It's fine. It's time for Charity to give me another haircut. You gonna give me another haircut?
Today?
You don't have to do it today. You're doing the lockdown smackdown. That's good. That's good. Yeah, the home gym is good. Guys, it's just a metaphor for everything. You have to be self-sufficient in all things, as many things as you can be. We're not self-sufficient in enough things, but we're working on it. Oh, we're working on getting self-sufficient in more areas all the time. By this time next year, it will be a lot different, I hope, for us. Am I essential enough for a haircut, Charity? Yes, Charity's been giving me my haircuts. It's good. I'm never going back to the barber ever again.
Stop.
I'm not. I'm never going back to the barber ever again.
It's not that good of a job.
Charity's going to do them from now on. Yes? Yes. Hey, no problem, Charlie. Be good, man. Built a garden, made her own bread and other food, rebuilt the garage. Good. Wilson's not dead. That's good.
Yay!
Good, man. As long as everything's better than worse here on the top side of the dirt, that's good.
What kind of bread is that person making?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to probably I'm gonna have to record a little Scott stream thing here a little bit later and finish my thoughts about these monopolists and their nonprofit foundations and how they are acting and how our government is allowing them to act like they're elected officials. You know, Bill Gates has somehow become like a public health official, and we didn't vote for that asshole, and he has no qualifications at all, and I'm sick of it. So I think I'll do another Scott stream about that. I got started on it the other day, and I'll do part 2 of that and wrap it up. I mentioned on this the other day, on Instagram Live the other day, that we're going to end up with a bunch of accusations of being anti-vaxxer if you don't want to take the Gates vaccine. But the Gates vaccine is almost certainly not going to be valid. You know, this coronavirus is a coronavirus, and so is the common cold, and so is SARS, and we've had those things for decades, if not millennia, and have never come up with a cure for the common cold or a vaccine for SARS, and it's very unlikely we'll have one for this either. Most of the vaccines that we have came out of animal models, and we end up with a cowpox vaccine that works for smallpox, and then we kind of scaffold into a more specific smallpox vaccine, and then we're successful with it. But it's not like we created one out of the lab from nothing, and there won't be a coronavirus vaccine that's valid. So watch out. When it comes out, it's going to be a scam. I'm not an anti-vaxxer, but I'm anti this one because it's not going to work. They've been telling us we were going to have an AIDS vaccine for 40 years too. Don't have that either. We're not going to have a vaccine for this. But they're still going to want to shoot something in you. Gates wants inside you. Joseph says, I'm glad you talked me into reading Bernays' propaganda. See it everywhere now. Yeah. Vaccines are usually 5 years to make. There aren't very many successful ones either. Most of them don't work. We only have a few successful vaccines: measles, mumps, rubella, polio, smallpox, HPV, chickenpox. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it.
I wish I had a waitress to go get me a cheek.
It'll never appear. And if it does appear, it'll be a scam. It'll never appear. There'll never be a coronavirus vaccine. Not a valid one. They're going to tell you there's one, and then if you don't want to take it, they're going to call you a superstitious anti-vaxxer. I'm not anti-vaccine. I'm just anti all these motherfuckers that want to stick needles in me. You want this? You want to drink of my water, Charity?
No, I really like the rock in my house.
Yeah. Joseph just said he was glad he read that Edward Bernays' propaganda. It's a good one. We're going to read another one. Another good one is Walter Lippmann's book, Public Opinion. You might try that out. Favorite book to forge a strong mindset? I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means necessarily. I don't know. Probably the complete works of Plato if I have to name something. But you can't just read it. You got to do it. You got to act on it. You got to practice it. You got to spend a lot of time on that book to get that changed. Speaking of the Bill Gates vaccine, when do you think they started changing the language in monopolies and business tycoons? It seems to have happened about about 25 years ago. Yeah, it seems to have happened about 25 years ago, maybe 15 to 25 years ago. It's really strange. I don't understand it. And around that same time, everything, the measure of life in America became just GDP and productivity. We stopped talking about standards of living and started talking strictly about GDP and average household income around that same time. And if that's your measure, then the person who has the highest income is the most virtuous person in the world, And that seems to be the only thing people care, or that the public seems to care about. But I don't know. Elon Musk right now is making threats about moving his businesses out of California, and everybody on Twitter is applauding him for that. But he loves the government in California. They make a certain number. They make a certain number of car sales in the state have to be electric cars, and have done a great deal to use power of the state to move his shitty, unprofitable business towards some sort of profitability. He's fine with that. But now he doesn't like what the state's doing. I don't understand that people just worship. Oh, he's so brilliant. He's an idiot. He's an idiot. Every woman that married him and divorced him found out. She thought he was smart, got married to him, found out he didn't have any money, because he doesn't. He just has stock that has high value on it. He doesn't have any money. And then they lived with him for a while and found out the guy's an idiot, that he has trouble with personal hygiene and ordering food at restaurants. And then they divorce him, and this next one's going to do it too. He'll probably kill himself when the whole world finds out that all of his businesses are a fraud and that nothing's true about him. Wouldn't be surprised at all if he kills himself. Mark that down. May 9th.
It's the 10th.
Yeah, Kazan says, I believe it when I see it in regards to him moving out of the People's Republic of California. Came in at the perfect time. Yeah. Musk is a fraud. And, if you listen to the Joe Rogan interviews with Musk, and if you listen to everything that the media says about him, and then you listen to those Joe Rogan interviews, you'll think, oh, this guy's hard to understand because he's so smart. Well, another explanation might be because he's so goddamn stupid. So the next time you listen to him, think, gosh, is he really this smart, or is he just struggle with communicating with people, or his thoughts disorganized? Is he really not that smart? And when you listen to it with that mindset, you realize, oh, this guy's a fraud. Yeah, Run After Dirtwater said he's an actor. He is an actor, and he doesn't know it. He doesn't know it. He really plays with his Legos, and he really thinks that he's going to put a colony on the moon and on Mars, and he really thinks that he's going to save the universe, and he's basically an underoos wearing a 12-year-old. How about that? An elongated muskrat. Somebody will DM me and tell me I'm just jealous of him. But I am not. Really good point. He never seems clear. It's like he's trying to be some kind of savant. He is some sort of a savant. His brain's broken. It doesn't work properly. And some of that's to his advantage. He doesn't see risks like other people would. He doesn't see problems as clearly as maybe other people would, and so that makes him think that he can accomplish stuff that sane people think can't be accomplished. And that'll lead you to some measure of success sometimes, but it'll eventually lead him into hubris and failure. In regards to his Tesla in space, it looks fake. That's how you know it's real. I checked out after that. Is the fascination with Musk personality driven? Is he good at business? I don't know if he's good at business or not. I suspect that he isn't, but I don't really know. He's a figurehead, if anything. I can't imagine that the guy is actually involved in the day-to-day operation of an enterprise that big. Maybe he is. I don't know, but I suspect. I don't spend a lot of time researching Tesla. I've never read any of their annual reports. I don't even know if they're publicly traded. I guess they're publicly traded. I don't even know. But maybe I'll spend some time on this. Maybe I'll do a podcast about it. I suspect they receive an enormous amount of government subsidy, and then if they do show any profits, government subsidy is responsible for a lot of it. Hey, Mr. Green, good looking squat 5 I watched this morning. It's very good. Got a lot more in the tank there. Huh? Mm-hmm. Yeah, is fascination with less personality driven? Yeah, probably. But he doesn't have any personality either. He's kind of a blank slate. People can kind of project onto him whatever they want. There's not much to the guy. 440 seems scary. Don't worry about it. Don't even think about it. Don't even think about it. Don't even think about it. Work up to openers here soon. Don't worry about it. Yeah. Next time you see Musk, think in your head, is this guy dumb? And you'll probably come out of that listening to him and think, yeah, this is dumb. He's every nerd's dream. He's awkward and whatnot rich with hot wives. He's not rich. He doesn't have any money, guys. He's got more money than me, and he's probably got more money than you. But he doesn't have cash on hand. He doesn't. Easy to see yourself in him. Yeah, maybe. When we walk out 4 or 5, it feels heavy. It is heavy. It is heavy. Didn't really have enough time there, Nathan, to peak you for a meet like that, but you're going to do well. Red Iron Barbell says, Happy Mother's Day, Charity. Yay. Appearance of Rich. That's all of America. That's true. Where's the bunny?
He's over there. He's behind the hobbit hole. Behind that tree now, probably.
I was going to show everybody the rabbit, but he's going to...
He'll come back out.
Yeah, the appearance of Rich. Yeah. But now he's let that wacky wife of his name the kid with a model number. And, not good. It's pretty disgusting situation, I think. But somehow, to the point somebody made earlier, the whole conversation around these big business people has changed. It used to be they were robber barons, and now we look to them for our health. I don't understand. And people look at Musk like he's going to save the world.
What time is it?
The world can't be saved. I don't know what time it is. What time is it, everybody? I don't have a watch and I can't pull it up on my phone because I'm on Instagram. Yeah, the tax code changed around 3:35 p.m. Charity. I don't know what time zone those folks are in, but 3:30, huh?
3:30.
Yeah, it might be time.
I'm gonna Skype in the full at like 4:30.
You can go watch Dale Watson on Facebook. There he goes. Bunny goes. Yeah, it's Central Time. Yeah, it's Chicken Shit Bingo on Facebook. But if you want to watch it, babe. Now you're in Oklahoma City. Excellent. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, you know that whole the tax code changed in the 19 teens and in the 20s. Well, first of all, there wasn't any income tax, but that changed, and then that first generation of these robber baron industrialists started retiring and selling out of their trusts, and people like Carnegie, in particular, he put his money in a charitable foundation and essentially gave it all away, and these people, Carnegie, Rockefeller, and Ford Foundation and a whole bunch of others have found that they can create the Bill and Melinda Gates. Melinda Gates Foundation have found that they can give their money away after fucking everybody to death for most of their lives. They can give their money away at the end of their life and rehabilitate their reputation. And Vanderbilt. Anderson Cooper's a Vanderbilt, by the way. And it's been a big PR job that's been done on everybody by allowing these people to create these charitable trusts that seem to live in perpetuity, by the way. How did Charity and I meet? We met at Catoosa Public Schools in 1980. Yep. Cooper is Gloria Vanderbilt's son. I don't remember which Vanderbilt is his mother, but one of them is. Yep, he's a Vanderbilt. Yeah, it's terrible. His grandmother used to take him to Studio 54 when he was younger. Yeah. Oh, his gross mother. Yeah. In German, it would be Großmutti, his grandmother. Yeah, he's messed up. He's famously, right, he's gay. So your mom takes you to Studio 54 in the late 70s when you're a little kid, and then later on you're gay. Huh. How does that work? He was just born that way, right? Hanging out with the Village people at Studio 54 in 1977. Doesn't have anything to do with it, though, huh? Interesting. Or maybe not. It's really actually not interesting. It's disgusting. All this stuff makes me insane. In English, right? Yeah, she's gross, negligent. Yeah, I've been starting to think that I was talking earlier about Musk being a fraud and not being at all what people think he is. It's not his fault either, by the way. I don't think he knows. I think he's literally some poor autistic kid who wears underoos and plays with Legos and stuff and has all these resources and is being used. He doesn't know. He has no idea. that he's being used as some sort of probably DARPA front or something like that. But I think Stephen Hawking is probably the same. Like, what did Stephen Hawking do? You know, he was this poor piece of meat, this poor suffering individual trapped in a wheelchair who spoke through a computer. I think he's just the ultimate science propaganda machine. You know, handlers can use his voice and say through that computer whatever they want said. Everybody says, "Oh, look at him! He's a brain in a bottle," and he's brilliant, and we're going to listen to him. It's just insane. The whole prospect that the mind is so disconnected from the body that poor gentleman could have an ultra sharp mind in the midst of all that physical wreckage is insane. I think all of us that work to try to take care of our physical health know that the more we take care of our health, the better our minds work. And we all also know that when we're sick, our minds don't work as well as they would otherwise. And none of us have been as sick as he was. I think it's patently obvious that Stephen Hawking was a fraud. After a point, I think he was probably a brilliant young man, but ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, I think, took that away from him decades ago. But he would continue to be paraded out and used as a mouthpiece for the bullshit progressive science community for decades, to the point that he went to Epstein Island, for Christ's sake. It's crazy. CGP Gray's new video, Spaceship. I don't know what that means. Who are some of my favorite content creators?
I don't think they're doing it live.
Did I hear right that you sometimes watch Vox Day?
All I can find is the thing.
I don't know, babe. My favorite content creators. I'll listen to all kinds of stuff. I've been listening to the Hermitix podcast. Hermitix, Hermitix, top notch. The Hermitix podcast. I read Vox Day. I read all kinds of stuff. Aidan McClear. Read a whole. I read a lot every day. Ron Unz. You have to take care of your body, sleep, food, exercise, clearly. And that poor guy, I don't want to sound like I'm piling up on him. Unfortunately, he is very, very ill for a very long time, but the idea that guy is some sort of genius is late in his life is clearly a lie. Hello, Jared Markle. Tell your loving wife, happy first Mother's Day. Happy first Mother's Day. Hey, Dan. Yeah, most of the somebody there. Who was it? Running for Dirt and Water. Ask who my favorite content creators are. Most of them are too crazy for me to mention. I follow a bunch of farmers on YouTube and watch their channels. I watch the Welkers, hanging out with the family in Wyoming. Good. I watch the Welkers on YouTube. Fascinating. This kid, I say kid, is a 23-year-old guy in Iowa who has he and his dad and his brother run a corn operation in Iowa. Cole the Corn Star. It's great. It's great. He's kind of he's corny. He's kind of silly, but you get to see it's almost like a reality TV show. They have like a 20-minute show, YouTube video almost every day, and you just get to see what they do. It's fascinating. Ron Unz, UNZ is Unz. Hermetics. Who else? I mentioned Aidan McClear. Aidan McClear. Maclear. I believe. Read Aidan McClear. A lot of this stuff will probably get you fired from your job. Reading Ron Unz. But he's brilliant. There's a guy that has a blog, the Market Ticker, the Market -Ticker, I believe is the thing. I read him. He's nuts. Love it. So he just goes on and on and on right now. He's just going crazy about the pandemic and all this ridiculous insanity about shutting the entire economy down to protect the obese and the diabetic from this disease. Hey, be safe, Mr. Medic. L. Ron Hubbard. I have not. Let me see. He's the Dianetics guy, right? And he wrote. The only L. Ron Hubbard I have read is Battlefield Earth, which I enjoyed. But that's the only thing of his I've read. I had a copy of Dianetics a long time ago. I bought it at a garage sale or something, and I never even read it. But it's probably around here somewhere. We Americans have allowed it to happen. Allowed what to happen? Oh, the lockdown? Well, we've allowed it to happen, but I think it's not what everybody... a lot of people say that this lockdown happened because Americans are a bunch of sheep and so on. But I don't think that's why it happened. I don't think that's why Americans allowed it to happen. I think they allowed it for a number of reasons. They hate their jobs. They hate their commute. They hate the companies they work for. They know that they can work their entire lives and never pay their debt off. They know that the school that they go to is rigged and it's a scam. And I think that deep down inside they want it all to fail and they want an opportunity to bow out. And they're using this as an excuse to do just exactly that. I don't think that they're being lemmings and just doing what they're told. This is not so secretly what they think they ought to do, which is stop their stupid fucking commute, stay home with their families, not do their dumb job that they hate. And they know that if they go to work every single day for the rest of their days, they'll never get out of debt. So they were glad to step away from it, I think, because they know they were headed off of a cliff anyway. So let's just run off the cliff now. I think there's a lot of sort of pessimism about the whole system that made people very willing to stay home. It says the Scientologist didn't follow me home from the yard sale. I don't think that the guy I bought it from, this was 30 years ago when I bought it probably. I don't think that I bought it from a Scientologist, actually. I have not watched Jay Dyer. Who's Jay Dyer? He says it was a hit job on the economy. I've heard the name Jay Dyer, but I don't know who it is. I read the Kurgan, Kurgan. I read the Kurgan. Do I remember Jay Dyer and the Kurgan having a debate? I hate internet debates, by the way. In fact, I just hate debates. I hate debates. They don't even work. What else do I read? I'll read Zero Hedge. Like Zero Hedge. You should just look up a list of all the websites that Facebook won't link to and just go read all of those. Oh, I said that and lost one. Look, guys. I've got 12 people watching this right now. I've got 12. No, debates aren't how greats solve problems. They definitely, I think, Jared, would respond to each other, but you don't solve problems by sitting down in a room with somebody. You don't have to solve big problems, maybe interpersonal problems. If you and I had, look, I lost another one, and they won't come back either. Oh, I lost another one. They won't come back. You watch. Instagram's going to shadow ban this one. Oh, we got one. Maybe not. Oh, he's gone. We could solve an interpersonal problem, you and I, if we sat down and debated it out. But if we're trying to figure out some of the big problems, you don't do it by having two people sit on a stage and have at it. That's a public opinion and propaganda device. The public debate is, and it's really not where the thinking and the invention of good ideas and new ideas take place. People certainly have responded to the work of others before them or even contemporaries, but they do it in long form, in the quiet, on paper, and publish it. And if that's maybe a form of debate, but note that I did say internet debate. I have people say, why don't you debate so-and-so about programming? No, fuck it. Go listen to them talk about programming. Listen to me talk about programming and draw your own conclusions. I'm not here to juxtapose my ideas against theirs. I'll try to juxtapose my ideas against the material world and truth. And my ideas, most of which I end up throwing away eventually. My ideas, I judge them on their own merit, not contra somebody else. Winning a debate against somebody else doesn't really say anything about my ideas. It's just more about that other person or my ability to twist them up and win the public relations battle. Internet debates, dumb. I'll never do one. Jay debates theology. He's an Orthodox apologist. Like, he's actually Christian Orthodox. Hello, Toby and Chris. Yeah, it's a popularity contest, and it's bread and circuses for midwits. It's bread and circuses for midwits. That's what it is. Not terribly interested in that stuff. Yeah. There have been some famous slow motion debates, like the one between Erasmus and Martin Luther, and you can go and read all of it. They wrote open letters to each other and then published them, responded back and forth, and you can see that nothing, if you're honest with yourself, you'll see that neither of them solved anything. Lutherans love it when they read it. Catholics love it when they read it, but they solved precisely nothing with the open debate on free will that they did. And it's just not how it works. It's just not how new ideas are formulated, promulgated, and tested. The sun's popped out behind that cloud and is just blinding me. Hey, Justin. Didn't they take 1.5 hours to make a point, and then the opponent would take 30 to 60 minutes to prepare a response and deliver a response? Who's they? Who's they? Hey, man. Monty Python was still making material. They would have a field day with the stupidity and sheer massive waste of time that is modern social media debate. Yeah, probably so. There's a woodpecker over there. like the AK versus AR debates at the gun range. Didn't they take an hour and a half to make a point? I mean, like in those Lincoln Douglas debates, is that what you're talking about? They would do that, but it's still PR stuff. It's still bread and circuses for midwits. And you can read Aristotle's Rhetoric, where he talks about how most people can't be swayed by the facts and solid argument; they're swayed by rhetoric. And using those public debates is going to be more a tool of propaganda and rhetoric than material, real argument. Yeah, I get people email, "Oh, you should debate blah 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 blah." No, I'm not going to do that. Draw your own conclusion seems so controversial right now. Vox News slogan, explaining the news or something. I don't read Vox News. I don't know. I don't know about what, but yeah, but and most people aren't qualified to draw their own conclusions. They're just not. They haven't developed any framework that they could use to draw a conclusion. They don't know how. They haven't decided what they think is a valid way to test a truth claim. They don't know what their axioms are, and when they make an evaluation and make up their own mind, they don't know how to do it. And I would never debate Bill Gates. Fuck that guy. I don't have a minute for that guy in person. It might be fun. He's like 5'8" and weighs 132 pounds. It'd be good to kind of hulk over him and just ridicule him. I would do it in a Trump-like way. I would just point out how simpering and how hand-wringing and what a pussy he is, and how he clearly doesn't know anything about health. I can tell from looking at him, and I would just berate him like that. What about the colossal mountains of BS that are presidential debates? Yeah, they're terrible. I haven't watched one in years. I think the last one I watched any piece of was Bush and Gore, maybe. They're just ridiculous. Yeah, debates are just such a stupid thing. I think kids should do debate. If they have a chance to be on a debate team in school, I think it's a good exercise for the people that do it to learn how to organize their thoughts and make an argument, use rhetoric, and speak convincingly and beautifully about things, and learn how to command a room and communicate with large numbers of people. I think that's a great skill to have. But for all of us adults, all those, we should be able to see it for what it is. It should be a tool that we could use, and I think I can use it. And if I needed to, I could probably rally the troops better than some other people can. But I know what the game is, and the game is to trick and deceive and to get people fired up emotionally and to win a popularity contest. Frankly, that's what it typically is. Brian Riddell, welcome, man. Yeah, Gates. Ugh, Bill Gates is so gross. Such a, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation have paid to circumcise hundreds of thousands of African men. And the argument for that is ostensibly to prevent AIDS transmission, but there doesn't seem to be any evidence that foreskins cause more people to get AIDS. Like, what is he doing? What are they fascinated with there? What about the thousands and thousands of women that were sterilized in India by their shitty polio vaccine, and where we don't ever hear anything about the Indian government throwing the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation out of their country for irreparably damaging the health of thousands of women in India? what is his fascination with black wieners and eugenics? Like, what is it? And by the way, don't believe anything I say. Go look it up and read about it. Draw your own conclusion. Draw your own conclusion. Thank you. So big fan of your podcast. Thank you, Brian. Thank you. You'd pay to see Louis Simmons and Ripito drink bourbon and debate something. I don't think they would debate much. I don't think they'd debate much. But yeah, you proved my point. I mean, I love you, man. But you proved my point. Debates are about entertaining the masses. It's not about actually finding the truth or popular debate. It's not about finding the truth or doing good. I've got a group of men that come over here to my house on Thursdays, and we debate all kinds of things. And it's very good for us because it helps us organize our thoughts, helps us understand what we believe more in a more granular way, and it makes us formulate all of our arguments in a clearer way, and makes it easier for us to express ourselves. So we get a lot of good out of it, but nobody's watching. The public debate is the final cause of public debate is not to verify truth claims, and it's not to do the right thing. It's it's to gather followers or to take followers from someone else. Cottonwood tree over yonder is blooming. I got cotton floating over here. So do you think engaging in debate is helpful for thinking, but watching as debate is entertainment? Yes. And by the way, when we do these private, informal debates at my house, we're not doing it for an audience. We're not doing it for any other purpose but to organize our thoughts. Nobody's watching. Well, I mean, I say nobody's watching. There'll be 6 or 8 of us over here, and then you know who some of these people are. There's two of them are maybe some of you know who some of these people are. 2 of them are seminar hosts at Online Great Books. One of them's a popular blogger. Some of these people have been guests on some podcasts I've been on. You know who some of these people are. So there'll be 6 or 8 of us maybe, and we hash it out, but it's not for an audience. So we're not trying to carry the point with a manipulative rhetoric. We're trying to carry the point with grammar, logic, and proper rhetoric. And so, yeah, it's good practice, and it helps us think, just like writing helps us think. But debates that are done in public for the purpose of winning are rubbish. Hey, Josh. Yeah. Our my follower count here has gone back up a little bit, so maybe Insta didn't squeeze me today. Thanks, Zuckerberg. It would be great. Wouldn't it be great if we were ruled by men of action instead of all these weird high estrogen manlets? Wouldn't that be great? I can't imagine letting Zuckerberg so much as like detail my truck, and somehow we let him control one of the biggest media outlets in the world. It's insane. Deborah says, yes! Listening while making chicken soup. That sounds like a good idea. Yeah, there has been a movement in the 20th century, and certainly in this century, to discredit the link between physical effectiveness and mental effectiveness. In the gammas in the movie and the media industry have done this with movies like Revenge of the Nerds, which is just a gamma fantasy that that the physically broken are smarter than those who aren't, and that they'll triumph through the power of their intellect. But the truth of it is that study after study shows, and you guys actually know this at your core, is that more beautiful and more handsome people and more vigorous people are smarter than those that aren't. And there are a number of reasons for that. So wouldn't it be wonderful if our ruling class were people of physical action, decision making based on logic and reason, innovative. Yeah, Mike Mincer, I don't know who that is. Robert Greene, I don't know who that is either. Who are these people? I know Graham Greene. My neck is so stiff. I don't know who those people are. One of the reasons that people hate Trump so much is, I think, because he is a man of action. He's not exactly a bare knuckles boxer or anything like that, but he is a man who acts and has caused. I don't know anything about Robert Greene, but he is a guy that acts and has caused things to come about in the real world, like construction and so on. And that's one reason why a lot of people hate him. He famously has an affection for has always had an affection for the tradespeople that have worked for him, and and he's kind of at his base, really, even though he's supposedly has a great deal of money in the construction trades, and that's one of the things that people don't like about him. That's people in the trades, people that do things in the physical world now are second-class citizens. They're working class, and people sneer at the working class, but the working class are the people that manipulate things in the real world, and that's an important place to be. That's a very important place to be, is in the real world. Everything that we have is either a mining product or an agricultural product that has been increased in value by intellectual property and the labor of humans. And we're going to find, I think, that our economy shakes out the purely intellectual products and drives them out, and we'll be left with refined agricultural and mining products. Your iPhone, this phone, is an agricultural product, a mining product that's been enhanced by the labor of humans and intellectual property. And silica, aluminum, rare earth metals, lithium, etc. And the people that actually handle those things and mess with them in the real world are they're the ones that make the world go around. And every time somebody shits on the working class, I know I'm dealing with somebody that doesn't understand anything about the real world, and when the boogaloo comes, they ain't going to make it, Teddy Roosevelt is not the greatest president of our time. Teddy Roosevelt famously said that the United States, being a young nation, needed a war to prove itself, and agitated perpetually for war. He almost single-handedly started the Spanish-American War. Couldn't wait for World War I, and he was just a hawk. He was just a hawk in that way, and I have no patience for that shit. The United States should be isolationist. It always should have been, and he is one of the first steps towards the globalist mess that we're in right now. You can lay that directly in TR's lap. We're an enormous country with a large population, enormous material wealth in natural resources and agricultural resources. There's no reason for us to have projected our power beyond our shores for even an instant. And when we did that, we started down the globalist road, and that is his fault. Let me meet you on the other side, guys. This is getting ready to time out. We'll kick it off again. We'll come right back.